Hi, I'm Rebecca, and welcome to the Parent Teacher Bridge, where you can find the solutions and resources you need to enrich your child's education. Are you a CC parent who is thinking of starting Essentials this coming year, or maybe next year? And you're wondering how to make an easier transition and get your child prepared? Stick around to hear a few tips that I'm going to share with you from my first year as an Essentials parent. Now, this last year was my child's first year in Essentials. And since he is my oldest child, it was my first year in Essentials as well. Now, I didn't start him until he was actually 10, but he was in fourth grade this past year. I don't see that as holding him back one bit, just like I didn't consider holding him back by starting him in kindergarten a year later. He did have a July birthday, so that factored into the equation, and there were lots of things that he could still learn at home with me before starting school officially, before going to Essentials officially. And so some of these things that we did at home before starting our year of Essentials, I think really helped us have an easier transition, and I hope they will help you too. So let's begin. Number 1, know the English songs from the Foundations program. Now, these songs may be in different cycles, and if it's your first year in Classical Conversations, you might have to look into Cycle 2 or Cycle 1, or looking ahead into Cycle 3 to find whatever songs that you need. I would ask your director where you can get the songs. Let me give you an example. So, our first year of Essentials last year was also our third year of Classical Conversations. So my child had experience with the English songs in CC. So if a topic came up, such as prepositions, he already had a song in his mind to define what is a preposition. And he had already memorized the preposition song, which lists a whole bunch of prepositions where it's going to be easier to pick out a preposition in a sentence you are diagramming. If you have those words in your mind in a song, it's so much quicker. So look into those CC songs that are English-based. There are lots of them that give definitions of some of the parts of speech like nouns and verbs. And then you also have that preposition song where you can actually memorize a good amount of them. Number 2, know the 8 parts of speech and become familiar enough to pick them out of a sentence. So there is a song about that as well, like I talked about in number 1, the 8 parts of speech. But you can also practice finding these 8 parts of speech out of a sentence at home. Just about any third grade or fourth grade English grammar book is going to give your child experience with things like nouns, verbs, adjectives. Even if they only get those 3 before moving to Essentials, it's going to help. With my own son, someone had given us a copy of Easy Grammar. And whenever I get something free, I make the most out of it and I use it. It was simple, it was grab and go, so that worked for us. But had we not had that, I probably would have done a simple online search for a third or fourth grade English grammar workbook so that he could get some practice finding the noun in the sentence, finding the verb in the sentence, and so on. Now, you will go over this in Essentials. I'm just saying I think it was easier that my son already knew what a noun was, what a verb was prior to starting the Essentials program. Another thing that you can do that my children have thoroughly enjoyed is to watch the Schoolhouse Rock videos. Now, they're going to be different songs than the Classical Conversation songs, but that doesn't mean that they won't complement or enrich your child's experience with English grammar. We would usually watch them in the car on long car trips, and my children have a song for interjections. And when the teacher in Essentials said interjections, my son already had an experience to tie that to. So he thought of the funny song in Schoolhouse Rock. So I highly recommend that DVD set if you haven't purchased it already. Another really exciting activity that you can do to help familiarize your child with parts of speech is to play Mad Libs. You can order just a ton of different Mad Libs books online, but you can also find some free printable Mad Libs to use at home. Now it can be easy to think of nouns because you can just look around the room and name some nouns. But you might want to have a list of different verbs or a list of different adjectives that you can use with your child so that they don't have to just think of some off the top of their head. But just playing Mad Libs, laughing, making a good experience out of practicing grammar will help your child be more prepared for essentials. Hi parents, is your child struggling to read or even hates to read? And nothing you have tried has worked? Get my free guide, 5 quick tips to immediately help your struggling reader. I'm going to show you the simple tricks that I've used for years to successfully improve children's reading and their confidence in reading. It's easy, it's simple, and it's free. Just go to theparentteacherbridge.com/reading help. You can find that link in the description below. Number 3 is to build writing stamina by writing in a journal daily. When a child gets into the Essentials program, they're going to learn how to do things like take notes and summarize and put things into their own words. They're going to learn how to make sentences more interesting, but there is writing involved. And I cannot imagine how difficult this would be for a child who has not had any experience just writing sentences. So if you haven't yet at home had your child practice writing sentences on a topic, you might want to try that. Now, if your child is able to actually write a paragraph about the topic, great. If your child has already done that and you want to extend their stamina by having them write maybe 3 paragraphs, wonderful. But they will get to that in Essentials. If you can at least get them to write sentences, even a list of sentences on a topic, that's going to help them prior to Essentials, because you don't want to have these days where you're working to get the Essentials paper done by the next week and you have tears and they just don't know what to say. You want to make it the most positive experience as possible. So building writing stamina by regularly writing will help. Now, something that we did in our family is we would look at the CC timeline. We would look at the science topics and the history topics, maybe even the geography, and we would sometimes write on those topics. I have a couple of pictures to share with you from our first year of CC. My son was 8 years old when he wrote these, and I was sitting nearby so I could help him with some things. Now, I apologize for the way that these pictures look, but this was the journal that got left outside on a rainy night. And I also wish that we would have skipped lines when writing so that it could have been easier for us to read. As you can see, he liked to draw a picture with it, and then he just wrote some sentences about it. Man, even 4 or 5 sentences on the one topic, if your child can do that prior to Essentials, it's going to really help them out. Now, I have included in the description below a free guide of a list of topics that are American history based and science based. It is not identical to Classical Conversations, but I would say that it ties in with it. I added a few things, took out a few things as well, but there it is all in one spot. If you just need a list of ideas, you can research these by typing the word into YouTube and then use the words for kids right after it. You can use these by checking out library books on the topic and just reading them for a week, or thumbing through them and finding some facts that your child can write. But we had a great experience with that, and it also gave us something that we can keep and look back on and share with others like you. The 4th thing is to practice math facts. Now, when I say that, I'm primarily talking about your multiplication math facts. The better a child knows their multiplication math facts, the better they're going to do with division as well, since it's the inverse operation. So whatever you are doing at home, you might want to kick that up a notch or 2, because in an Essentials class, you will spend some time playing some math games. Some of them might be fast-paced. The children are encouraged to compete with themselves and just try to do better than they themselves had done before. However, I think it's just human nature that they're going to want to compare to other children in the class. And if the other children know their math facts really, really well, the tutor might have a tendency to go a little bit faster, and you're always pressed for time in essentials anyway. So building your child's confidence with math facts, that's going to be something that really, really helps. You can have a few apps that might work for you. I know we used Teach Me Math Facts. One thing I liked about that is it tracks the students' progress. They earn rewards, but then they spend the rewards, so they have to go back and do some more practice before they spend the money that they earn in that app. The thing I didn't like about the Teach Me Math Facts is that it did not give the facts all mixed in. So if you practiced your multiply by nines, it was only the nines at a time, not mixed in with the 8s or the 7s. So we made up for that by purchasing another app called Math Bingo. And you could set it on easy, medium, hard. Some of the hard had actually some of the upper level facts past the number 12. And I do realize that CC has skip counting up to the 15s now. That's great. But if your child can at least get to the 10s or the 12s and know them really well before they start essentials, I think that would help them. You might decide to use something like Math Tales. I had a small group class at my house of children who were 4th grade to 6th grade age, and we were just brushing up on our math facts, and we used the Math Tales program. So what that basically is it takes the hard math facts, the ones that are harder to remember for children, and it puts them into a story format. The story is only like 1 or 2 sentences, and then there's a visual that goes with it. For example, the number 8, you're supposed to always think of the number 8 as Mrs. Snowman because it's shaped like a snowman. I would recommend looking at those. You can find those online, get some YouTube reviews on those as well. They have a cartoon, they have a little flip book, but just having your child illustrate those and retell that story back to you will really bump up their memory of actual math facts separate and apart from skip counting. And one more thing, if you choose to use simple math fact cards like you can order from CC or make your own on index cards, I would suggest finding out at first which ones your child really knows, and which one your child struggles with. So you have an I know pile and an I don't know pile. Or you may even have a third pile that says, I know these, but I'm a little slower at these. And you know exactly which ones to target. Work on that for a year before starting essentials, and I think it's going to give your child a more positive experience. Now, if your child has some sort of math learning disability, you might consider printing off a multiplication chart. You can usually find multiplication charts all the way up through 12s, where they have all the way to the number 12 on the top and the bottom. You can also find some that go up to the 15s or even up to 20. So I recommend printing off one of those. You can get them color-coded if that makes it easier, and train your child how to use their 2 fingers and follow the lines to see where they intersect so they can find their product or their answer. And that will help to have nearby when they're doing math fact games. Now, you may be watching this as an experienced Classical Conversations parent, and you have much more experience than I do with the CC program. Do you have something that you would like to add in the comments? Please do, so that some of our newer Classical Conversations parents can gain from your wisdom as well. If you're new to the Classical Conversations program, you can go to their website to find a little bit more, and you can even get connected to a local director who can let you know everything you need to know about joining a group. Consult with your Foundations guide if you'd like to see some of the other things that children work on prior to joining Essentials. I wish you the best of luck in this journey. If this video was helpful for you, click like and subscribe and share with someone that you think would benefit. Find the Parent Teacher Bridge on Facebook and Instagram. And if you'll go to my website, theparentteacherbridge.com/CC Journal Topics, you can find a list of American history, and science topics that will kind of tie in to Cycle C. You can find the description in the link below. And don't forget, I have a free guide also for our struggling readers out there. 5 quick tips to immediately help your struggling reader. I hope that helps you, parents. Remember, you are your child's most influential teacher.